morning, everyone. How are we feeling today? How are we feeling? Pisces season, all about the feelings. Welcome. Happy Sunday. So glad you're here. Maybe you saw my recent new moon class, the new moon in Pisces, which is the sun sign season that we're in at the moment. As we talked a little bit about Piscean themes, and I don't know, I wanted to bring some of those Pisces themes into one of our Sacred Flow 60s because Pisces also rules the feet, and it's such like a nice excuse to do like a foot flow or at least give ourselves like a little TLC on the feet. Everybody, I feel like everybody loves that. So myself included. So here we are, going to do a little bit of that. And then also I can't help but draw that flowing kind of inspiration from water and pull that into practice too. So I have lots of like repetitive movements. So I just wanted to like pull all that together for you this morning. I hope that that is cool. There is a playlist for today. You want to get that ready. Also, we'll need one block for class today. Jenny's asking for shoulders. Yes, ma'am. Throw some shoulders in there. Shoulders and feet. They go hand in hand. Yeah, let's get started in a comfortable seat. We're going to sit up on that block if that feels comfortable for you, just to give ourselves like a little lift because we'll be seated for a few minutes doing some toes opening. So let's get started. Let's start that playlist up if you haven't already, and let's get going. Let's get going. Okay, that's enough chatter. We're going to sit in a comfortable seat, maybe on your block if that feels good for you. If not, just forget about it. And we're going to just tap into the natural flow of the breath. So allow your eyes to close or your gaze to soften. And just step out of the driver's seat and become the witnessing mind. Pisces also has this sort of, it's very like mystical, mysterious. It has this link to consciousness and the ever-flowing nature of consciousness. So if you could step out of your like thinking mind, become the witness, become that spark of consciousness within you. Whomever is listening right now, and just watch the breath. Start to deepen it now, giving it the ujjayi sound. And blinking the eyes open. So let's begin with a little like toe stretch. So you can just bring your top foot a little bit closer, just like kind of have it handy, maybe on your thigh and your knee. And we're just going to Weave the fingers between each of the toes. It's going to actually be like surprisingly intense. We're creating a little bit of space there. If you can get your fingers down to the webbing, go for it. I feel like this is like a hurt so good situation. And if that feels good, you could just stay with that. Or you could use the heel of your palm at the same time to create a little like point and flex in the toes to kind of like rub the arch of your foot up to the ball of the foot. Just a little self massage. Like I'm still repairing damage from wearing high heels to work for 9 or 10 years. You can get the other hand involved too if you want to massage a little more deeply with your thumb, getting around the ankle, heel. Nice. Last bit of pressure, maybe bringing the fingers down a little closer to the webbing if you can. And when you're ready, you can let that go. Feels funny. And we'll just switch. So we'll bring the other foot up. Get your fingers locked in there. These toes feel a little bit more forgiving than the others. That one's really tight. Take a few deep breaths and start to massage the foot. One or both hands, again, using the heel of the palm. And the warmth of the hand, too, also helps to soften the tension. Mm-hmm. Last breath or two, just bringing that, maybe the fingers down toward the webbing a little bit more if you can, maybe an extra squeeze. And then we'll let that go. Fun. From here, we're going to come to kneel. We could place that block towards the top of your mat. If it's really intense to kneel with the toes tucked, you could do it with the toes untucked. And of course, you can use the block between the heels to give yourself a little bit of support. But we just want to like feel a nice stretch in the soles of the feet here. Make sure the toes are tucked under too. We're going to bring the hands to heart center. And we're going to gradually sort of like build on this. So let's start here with 3 really deep breaths in through the nose, out of the mouth. And after that third exhale, just pause, breathing nasally. And then hands to the mat. We're going to lift the hips, forward fold at the back of the mat. Keep the knees soft, let the head dangle, and just grab opposite elbows. Just sort of swing side to side. Let the head get nice and heavy to create a little bit of extension through the neck and spine. I'm going to inhale, bring hands to the shins, lifting halfway. Exhale, folding down. Inhale, rising up, reach up. Keep the arms over the shoulders. Exhale the right hand to your side. Reach your left arm up and over, coming into a side bend. Looking up to the sky. Inhaling back to center, reaching the right arm up. Engage the belly. Left hand falls to your side and reach over with the right arm. Keep your feet firmly planted, but the toes aren't gripping. Inhale, reaching back up. Exhaling, fold again over your soft knees. Head releases last. Inhale, lift halfway, maybe to the fingertips, maybe hands to shins. Then again, we're going to drop the knees, keeping the toes tucked, sitting on the heels. Belly draws in. Watch the chest isn't collapsing forward. We want everything knitted in, a nice tall spine rising out of the tailbone. Hands at heart center here for 5 breaths. If you need a release breath out the mouth occasionally, take one. Otherwise, just be with the breath. Last one here. On your exhale, hands to the mat. Lift your hips into your forward fold. You could stay here, just grabbing opposite elbows or whatever. Or if you want to, you can rock a little bit of weight into the heels and float the toes. And they don't have to lift much. Just mind your balance. This gives you a little hamstring stretch too. Try not to lock the knees if you're here with me. And then we'll release that. Hands to the shins. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, folding down. Inhale, we rise up, reach up to the sky. Pausing here. Right hand falls to the side. And then think about sort of sliding that hand down the right leg as the left arm reaches up and over. Spiral that top pinky down, internal rotation of the arm, and just breathe. Reach out of the shoulder socket. Inhale, reaching back up. Exhale, left hand slides down the leg as you reach the right arm up and over. Inhale, reaching both arms to sky. Exhale, folding in half. Inhale, lift halfway. This is our last time kneeling on the toes. And if you'd like to instead bring everything nice and close together, I find that helps. We're going to stay on the toes, and maybe you can balance here with the heels the seat resting on the heels. Settle your gaze. Settle your breath. Last inhale. Exhale, hands to the mat. Lift your hips. Fold. Maybe walking the hands in and lifting the toes. Just on the heels here. That feels good too. And then we'll release. Inhale, hands to shins, lift halfway. Exhale, folding down. Inhale, rising up. Beautiful. Pausing here. I'm going to grab the left wrist with the right hand. Sort of wrap your fingers around. Inhale, reaching up high. Exhale, side bend to the right. Tugging gently on the left arm. Inhale, back to center, switching the grasp. Get long on your inhale, engage the belly. Exhale, side bend left. Inhaling back to center. Exhale, hands to the heart. Mountain pose, arms to the side for some nice shoulder rolls. Nice. And then from here, we'll bring the hands to heart center or hands to the hips, whatever makes sense. You can sort of feel it out. We're going to step the right foot forward, just like a cat step. And that back foot, we're going to flip so that the tops of the toes, tops of the foot is on the mat. Keep that back knee kind of bent. I feel like this sort of just happens naturally. And just like move the weight back for a little top of the foot stretch. I love this too. It kind of gets like up into the shin too, the front of the ankle, little spots that don't normally get a lot of love. Don't forget to rock a little bit of weight into the big toe as well. And then when you're ready, stepping that back foot forward, flipping your right foot now, and just pressing some weight into the tops of the toes. A little bit on the big toe. Big breaths. Last one here. And then stepping forward to the top of the mat. Mountain pose. The most stretchy feet ever. The tops, the toes, the soles, everything. Let's inhale the arms, sweep up to the sky. On your exhale, fold in half. Inhale, lift halfway, and step back to plank pose. Knees up or down, we're going to lower to the belly. Untucking the toes for cobra. Press into the tops of the feet. Let that engage the legs. So lift the kneecaps. Lifting your heart, long neck. On your exhale, child's pose. Hips to the heels. Deep breath in. Full breath. On your inhale, walk your hands in, rising up to sit on the heels once again. This time the toes are tucked. We're going to walk the hands behind us. Sometimes it helps to go farther back. And then just lift the knees, stretch the tops of the feet. Exhale, walk your hands forward, tabletop. Inhale, cow belly breath. Going with the flow here. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, cow belly. Exhale, round. Inhale, cow belly, tucking the toes. On the exhale, downward dog, our first one. And breathe. Pedal out the feet. Five really deep cycles of breath here. On your in-breath, plank pose. Knees up or down, lower to the belly. Untuck the toes and again, press into the tops of the feet. Shrug the shoulders back and down, squeezing elbows inward. Inhale, lift for cobra. Exhale to child's pose. Hips on the heels. Inhale, rising up. And we're just going to do that little like arch release that we love so much. So you're coming forward, we're going to bring the top of the right foot and stack it onto the arch of the left foot and sitting back. A little like pressure point activation. Here for a few deep ones. Find the resistance, try to soften, go to your edge. And on the exhale, hands to mat, back to tabletop. Inhale, cow belly, opening your heart. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, heart opens. Exhale, arching, or rather rounding the spine. Inhale to arch. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more time, that flow on your inhale. Come forward to plank. Exhale, lowering down. Untuck the toes again for cobra. Elbows pointing back to the heels as you inhale, lift. Exhale to child's pose. Big release breath. And then we'll rise up to stack the top of the left foot on the sole of the right foot. A little crisscross. And then sitting back. Be with the breath. And when you're ready, on the exhale, hands to mat, tabletop. Final round of cat-cow on your inhale. Lift your tailbone, lift the crown of the head. Exhale, round the spine. Spread the shoulder blades. Inhale, cow belly breath. Exhale, round. Last one, cow belly, spiraling the eyes of the elbows forward. Exhale, downward facing dog, where we will stay. You can flush through another vinyasa or two if you're feeling it. We could take a child's pose. And let's meet in downward facing dog. We're going to bring the toes together. And on the exhale, bend the knees out to the side, sinking your heels down to your hips down to your heels. So the knees are going to go out nice and wide. The knees could be on the mat, or maybe they're floating. Inhale, press off the toes back into downward dog. Exhale again, frog the knees wide. Inhale, straighten back to down dog. Let's do a few more of those with the breath. Good, last one. Beautiful. Down dog, feet about hip distance. Float your right leg high and behind. Exhale, step it up through the hands for wide-legged forward fold. Walk your hands to the middle of your mat, turning the feet in parallel. Inhale, lift your heart. Beautiful. You can stay here, or maybe grabbing your block, placing it underneath your face at this like halfway height. Left hand on the block. Inhale your right arm up to the sky. Check in with your sacrum so that nice and level. The right hip tends to kind of pop up here. So the more like level the sacrum is, sometimes the harder it is to twist. Just gotta like check your ego. Reaching wide. Beautiful. On your exhale, you're gonna wrap the right arm around the rib cage, turning to face your hand. Inhale, reaching up. Just a little flow here. Exhale, wrap the arm, turning the torso to face down. One or two more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, switch. Right hand to the block, left arm to the sky. Quick sacrum check. Exhale, wrap that left arm. Inhale, reach it. Exhale, release the hand down. Place the block again at the top of the mat. On the exhale, we're going to fold in just a bit into this forward bend. I know the hamstrings are still warming up. From here, inhale, lift to your fingertips. Walk the hands around to frame the right foot for high lunge. You could take a low lunge here if it feels better. Reaching up. Feel the heel pressing back. The shin pressing forward. And then knitting that connection through the pelvic floor and low belly. Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha. Nice holding. Now from here, I'll demonstrate this first. We're going to come into sort of like a skandasana, but you don't have to come all the way into skandasana. I'm going to bring the hands to heart center. Ground the back foot so that the toes are pointing to that top corner of the mat. And then bending in, maybe the elbow taps the knee. So then sort of like a half squat here, not all the way in. And then inhale, spiraling forward back to your high lunge. So take it slow. As you exhale, spiral that toe out. Skandasana, inhale, high lunge. Good, a few more on your own. Good. Last time coming into that skandasana. Let's meet in high lunge. Exhale, hands to the mat. Grab your block, place it in your right hand. Getting ready for half moon. Left hand on your hip. Bring that block forward and rise up to stand on your right leg. Floating your left leg to the sky. Maybe your left arm reaches up to the sky too. Press out of the heel, really firm that lifted leg. Flex the foot. One more deep inhale. Maybe the hand comes to the heart if you're feeling really strong and really secure in the balance. Maybe not. When you're ready, on the exhale, left hand comes to your hip. Set the left foot down to the outer edge of your mat, toes angled off. Do the same with the right foot for squat. You can grab your block, supported squat for this first one if you'd like. And there's a second side. Elbows press against the inside of the thighs and hands hover in front of the heart. Breathing deep. On your exhale, lifting off the block, step back to plank pose, move through your vinyasa, or just shift back into downward facing dog, your choice. From your down dog, left leg lifts high and behind. Exhale, stepping forward for wide-legged forward bend. Walk the hands to the long edge of your mat. And you can stay in the wide-legged bend with the hands under the shoulders, if that feels good, or reaching out, wrap the peace fingers around the big toes. Again, another little foot connection. Elbows bend out to the side as the crown of your head surrenders to the mat. A little micro bend to the knees. Turn your sit bones to point to the sky. It's definitely like a foot flow with a side of hamstrings today. Breathing one more. Then releasing hands to the mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Walk the hands around to frame the left foot for high lunge, spiraling on your toes. When you're ready, rise up. Drop your awareness into the feet here. Feel the outside edge of the front foot, especially, and the heel. So take your time. I just don't want you collapsing that knee inward. Finding the outside edge helps the knee track over the toes. The toes are pointing straight ahead also. That's always a surprise. Sometimes that teacher cues it. You look down, your foot's like going some crazy direction. You're like, how did I not know that? The back heel is pressing towards the back of the mat. And again, we knit up through the center. Deep breath in. When you're ready, bring your hands to heart center. Spiral that back foot out. And Skandasana. Inhale, swing it forward, high lunge. Exhale. Nice. Move with your breath. Last time, Skandasana. Coming forward, high lunge. Exhale, hands to the mat. Bring your left hand to the block, right hand to your hip. Steady your gaze and just bring the block forward so it's not crowding you. Keep your right hand on your hip as you stack the right hip on the left. So really want to open the hips here. Flex your floating foot so it's pointing out to the side, and then reach your right arm up if it feels okay. Activate that lifted leg by pressing out of the heel. One more deep one. And then hand to the hip, set that foot down nice and wide. Let the other foot follow suit and squat. You can bring your block in here for support. You can set it at a lower setting if you want to go a bit deeper. And if you're a person that likes crow pose or shoulder pressing pose or an arm balance of that kind, you can flow through that now. Take another breath. And then planting the hands, let's step back to plank pose. Flushing through vinyasa, we're going to meet in down dog, and then we'll take a little child's pose. And then from your child's pose, let's walk the hands in, rising up, sweep the legs around, grab your block. We're going to come into Upavista Konasana, or just a seated wide angle pose for starters. So open the legs up into a nice big V. Shift around so you can find sort of the fronts of your sits bones here. And flex the feet. So the toes and the knees should be pointing up. And find a nice tall spine. You can fold forward any amount, maybe grabbing for the big toes with the peace fingers. And heart leads into this fold. I'm always so impressed when people can just fold in half like a pancake. It is not me. Not me. Keep breathing. This is such a nice alternative to wide-legged forward bend. So if that's a pose that doesn't work for you, sometimes people with vertigo or any inner ear issues, forward bends can be kind of dangerous. This is perfect, you know? You're stretching the same muscles. You're safely on the ground. Bow the heart forward, maybe another micro bit. And then let's slowly rise and release the toes, keeping the feet wide. Let's bring our block into the outside of the right leg, and we're going to fold the left leg in. So the heel comes in towards the root. The sole of the foot is against the inside of the thigh. We are going to simply drop the right elbow onto the block. So you can bring that block up a level if that makes this a little bit more accessible. This doesn't have to be like the deepest side bend. It's sort of just like a supported side bend. And the left hand can rest on the thigh, on the hip. You can reach it over if you want to go deeper into this. If you're not feeling this block situation and want to do, I think it's revolve Janu Shashasana, you can grab, again, the big toe with the right fingers. The elbows sort of rest towards the inside of the shin. And then you can reach with your left arm to also grab the foot. So there's a couple places to be. If you want to go deep and active, that's here. We did do lots of side opening today, hamstring opening. So this might be a nice time to explore that. Or you could just be here, resting your head on your hand. We have the new moon, or rather the full moon in Virgo coming up in early March, like March 5th, which felt so far away until I remembered that February is like a very short little month. Take another nice deep breath here. Let's rise up nice and easy. And switch. Extend your left leg. Bend your right knee. Sit up nice and tall and move your block over to the other side. And if you're using the block, try to have it at the same height, even if you're more open on this side, just to kind of keep that equilibrium till the other side catches up. So when you're ready, the left elbow can rest on the block, which is a nice place to start. And if you took it into revolve Janu Shirshasana, go for it, grabbing onto the big toe. I like to reach the right arm back to kind of like open the heart. And then as you reach over, it just sort of keeps that integrity as you reach for the foot. Whoa. One more breath. Until we rise up. Set your block over to the side and roll onto the back. Beautiful. Let's open the arms wide to a T, getting ready for our twists. So bend the knees, bring the feet to the floor. Shift your hips over to the right and just let your knees fall to the left. The knees are kind of like stacked here. We're going to build on this. So of course you can stay here if this feels good. The left hand is going to rest on the top thigh for support. If you want to take this a little bit deeper, sort of hook your left leg, your bottom leg back so that your right hand can grab the top of the foot. If you want to complete the shape, the sole of the foot rests on the left thigh. Make a little foot connection there and scoot around too. It really helps to stack the right hip on top of the left. And just check in with the right shoulder. It might not be like fully grounded, but just watch it isn't like popping up. If it is, that's okay. Just try to like get a little heavier towards the mat. And then you can give yourself a self assist with just like pressing on that top thigh, deepening your twist. Of course, like honor your body, know how this feels. We don't want to just like go really hard into a twist that isn't for us. Nice. Let's release the foot. Bring the knees back to stacking and then go back to center. Nice and easy. Shift the hips to the left. Let's take it to the other side. Let your knees fall right, supporting with your right hand. And maybe hooking that bottom leg back. Can reach to grab the top of the foot. I do forget what this pose is called. Here for one more breath. And then we're going to let it go. Bring the knees back to stacking. And then back to center. And for our back bend today, I guess, we're going to grab the block for restorative bridge. Is this even a back bend? It's barely one, but it feels so good. Also brings a lot of support and awareness to the sacrum. Of course, corresponds with the sacral chakra, the second chakra, the chakra of water, second chakra to the root. So we begin in the earth, which brings us our stability, brings us our foundation. And then we move from one to two, from one to choice, into the flow. And just send breath into your low back. Breathe. If this is working for you, you can stay here for the remainder of Shavasana. That would be so nice. If you'd like to transition out, you can lift off of your block, give yourself a squeeze, maybe a quick happy baby before extending yourself long into Shavasana. Let's start to deepen the breath. Feel the breath moving down into the fingertips, down into the belly, down the legs, into the toes. And stretch the arms overhead. Draw your knees in and roll onto your favorite side. When you're ready, coming up to a comfortable seat. My hands at heart center. Maybe setting the intention to go with the flow a little bit today. You know, it's like kind of annoying to say or cliche to say, but I invite you to bring this awareness into your day and just notice if there are moments where you resist and maybe look at that with curiosity, like, why am I feeling this way? You know, versus like being open-minded about where a path might take you or a change in plans or whatever, and just see if that changes how you feel. You know, releasing those expectations to a degree, or being curious about another path that's being presented to you. A little Piscean intention or challenge for your day, or maybe just for like an hour. We won't set the bar too high because I know we have things to do on Sundays. You can't just like flow with everything, but you know, just see how it goes, see how it changes your perspective, your experience. And with that, we'll seal practice with a single Om, taking a breath in. Thank you for sharing your presence with the community and the class today. From moving through this Piscean flow, I hope you're feeling good. Your feet are probably going through a whole awakening of their own. That's it for now. Love you guys so much. Take care of your feet. Go with the flow. Drink some water. And I love you.